interested individuals. Number 4. Snake vs. Gecko. Our next match is definitely a natural one and actually seems surprisingly fair. Both fighters are able to get the upper hand on their opponent, and well, anything can happen when the two meet in close quarters combat. If you look closely, you can see that the gecko has already lost its tail, probably during a previous fight, marking it as a deadly scrapper despite its small size. It's also got some incredible tricks up its sleeve and knows how to take advantage of the snake's weaknesses. You can clearly see this ingenuity at work when it leaps onto the snake's back and rides it around like a rodeo bull. The snake, in turn, tries desperately to shake it, but has a hard time moving around with all that bulk attached. It may look like a fun ride, but it's really a life and death struggle to the bitter end, with the gecko using its sticky feet to hold on for dear life. Its next tactic is to bite the snake's lower jaw, preventing it from being able to land a solid bite or actually eat him. The snake, in turn, has only one move, and that's to repeatedly try to bite the gecko. Its hope is that the gecko will eventually bleed out and succumb to its toxic venom before the snake is too tired to continue. This venom actually thins out the blood, shortening the time it takes for its victims to bleed out. Unfortunately for the snake, the gecko is able to shut blood flow off to certain parts of its body to a certain extent, limiting the amount of blood loss over time. It's also seen using its padded sticky feet to hold itself firmly in place while the snake tries to dislodge it and drag it away. Eventually, the gecko's vice grip on the snake's jaw is too much for its opponent to bear, and its attacker lets go, slithering off into the jungle. The gecko, in the meantime, was very close to losing the fight. Their oxygen supply isn't enough to maintain that level of activity, as well as constrict its blood vessels enough to put up a struggle like that for too long. After a brief but intense bout, they both end up separating, with the more peaceful gecko retreating to a safe distance to properly recover after its deadly ordeal. We're sure that's not the last time it'll have to defend itself in such a grave situation, but that's the way things are when you're as far down the food chain as these two fighters are. Number 3. Cat vs. Alligator. House cats can be quite intimidating when they're provoked, and many of us know just how quick their reflexes can be. While some cats choose to terrorize people with their specialty skill set, others choose to be protectors of mankind. The cat in this video is definitely of the latter persuasion, defending its territory and human friends like a boss. While the people in the area don't seem all that worried, probably because of the gator's smallish size, it's still a fairly dangerous situation to be in. If that gator were to sneak up on an unsuspecting person or pet, it would undoubtedly try to make off with a quick meal. That's where our guard cat comes in. Realizing that the gator isn't supposed to be there and poses a threat, the cat jumps into action and starts actively pestering the predator. The two stare each other down for a long time, with the cat refusing to budge. Its show of force was just what the situation required. The gator, after seemingly carefully considering the situation, retreats into the water, and you think that's that. Cat 1, gator 0. Turns out the reptilian interloper was just grabbing reinforcements. After a few seconds, we suddenly see another gator pop out of the water with its companion. The pair then begins advancing on the cat, trying again to intimidate it into fleeing from its post. The cat again refuses to budge, clearly marking the land around it as its territory. Eventually, the two unwanted guests wander back into the water and disappear beneath the surface. Now, that's something you don't see every day and makes for a great camping story to bring home with you. The guy with the camera then comments that this cat is actually actively standing guard, making sure that nothing bad happens in the campsite, confirming what we already suspected. That is one badass feline. If you'd asked us at the start of the video what we thought would happen, we certainly would not have expected this outcome. Even though the gators in the video were relatively small, it would still be disconcerting to go camping next to so many of them, and we can assure you that we wouldn't be caught anywhere near that particular campsite, even with that cat wandering the premises. Then again, it would be a ton of fun to watch a guard cat take on a gator and convince it to wander off and bother someone else.